everybody. It's March 21st, 2019, and we're back with another episode of the Bideo. I think this is episode 27, and I'm here with Steve and Nick and Dan, as usual, the regular crew. And we're going to talk some video games at you. Steve, did you want to start with the Stadia, or did you want to go around and see, what's been going on with people?
I think we can start. No, I don't want to jump right into the Stadia because I feel like I need to a little bit formulate my thoughts. But I haven't really been doing anything interesting in my life. Although I'm happy to cover the couple of games that I have been playing recently. If you want to start with that instead.
Sure, that's fine.
Actually, you know what? Let's start with this one. So, and this goes right into the games I've been playing. After the last podcast, anyone that listened to the last podcast will remember that we were discussing some gaming memories. And one of the memories that I talked about that Nick was involved in was the formulation of a gaming list. That was like a hit list of great games that we wanted to play through. And we got really excited about that idea again after the episode ended, and long story short, we ended up making a new list. And so in 2019, we have a new list, and Nick, Noah, and I will be playing through games based on a little bit more advanced criteria. So the original lists, as I described them back in the day that we used to make, was just a solid list of 30 games or 20 games or however many that you played through. This one, we tried to make it a little bit more varied to accommodate for people's tastes and mood at the time and to give you some options. So Nick, Noah, and I each put in 10 games. So we have a list of 30 total games. And then we took those games and we sorted them by roughly how long they would take to play. So like short, medium, and long games. And we split all those up into 10 different rounds. So we have 10 rounds of 3 games each. And what we're all going to do is go through, and in the first round, we pick whichever one of those 3 games that we want to play through it, go down to round 2, do the same, play through all 10 rounds, and then you start the list over again until you get to 30 games. The only extra addition we added on top of that complication is after every 10 rounds, we added in a bonus round where whoever's picks you chose the fewest of in the 10 games you just played through, they get to throw in a bonus game to make you play one of theirs. So if I play through the first 10 games of my choosing and it turns out that I picked 5 of my own games and 4 of Noah's games that he put on the list and only 1 of Nick's games, Nick then gets to choose without any choice what my bonus game is going to be. So it gives some power to the person whose picks got ignored and gives them an opportunity to kind of shove some of their tastes back in your face. And we'll see how long it takes to get through 32 games, which is ultimately how long it'll be. Yeah. Nick, Noah, thoughts?
Props to us. We're all past round 1.
We did all pass round 1. I'll be honest with the people. we all cheesed round 1. So most rounds end up having somewhat short game that you're going to beat probably within 5 to 10 hours. And then it has kind of a 20-hour game, and then an RPG is usually the third choice. So the idea was we wanted to balance the RPGs with the other stuff to let you weave in and out of them. In our first round of picks, I put up Kirby's Dream Land for the original Game Boy. Nick put up Dragon Age Origins, and Noah put up Metroid Prime, right? Yeah.
No? Is Metroid Prime first?
Metroid Prime was in round 1. You just wouldn't know based on how we all treated round 1.
Okay.
There were actually 2 other games in round 1. But because it only takes 20 minutes to beat, and we all wanted momentum at the start of the list, and it seemed easy, all 3 of us played through Kirby's Dream Land. And it took no time at all, and we're all through that and on to round 2.
Yeah. For
And
me, I mean, it was the only game I hadn't actually played yet, so
that's true.
it was a natural choice.
I haven't played Dragon Age Origins or Kirby's Dream Land, and the reason I went with Kirby's Dream Land is because Dragon Age Origins is a game that I knew I'd want to kind of sink my teeth into, and it would take some time. And I'm playing another RPG right now, and on top of that, um, I know that there are games coming out very soon that will be eating up a good amount of my time. So I wanted to let that one sit and come back to it when my options are a little bit more open. Maybe like during the summer when there is a slow period between releases or something. Hopefully, I can time it right. So yeah, we all played through Kirby's Dream Land, and I think we all liked Kirby's Dream Land.
I feel like it's the most like it's a Kirby game. It has Wispy Woods. It has I don't think it has Meta Knight, but it has like the very standard Kirby bosses, and then in half an hour you beat it.
Yep. And it's in the era of Kirby before you could absorb powers, so it's just a platformer.
Yeah, that was
And
super weird.
yeah, I don't know. It was a fun game. It's honestly of all the 30 games, it's probably the shortest game on the list. There's one or two others that might come close. Um, and I will say that most of the games we put on the list, we picked out just to say, "Hey, play through this game." But there are a small handful of games that we gave special criteria to, like needing to do all 96 exits in Super Mario World. Noah put on there playing through any mainline Pokemon game with an exclusively water-based team. We've got on there uh, like a replay of any Final Fantasy game of your choice, stuff like that. So it should be a fun list. I'm looking forward to it. Noah, I think, already told me yesterday in text that he wants to quit the list, that it's a burden on him. But
Only half of that is true. I don't want to quit the list, but it is just another thing, another piece to. How do you phrase it? It's just more garbage in my face right now.
On the bright side, there's no real no real time limit
That's true,
other
but I
than
always want to be working on it.
yeah.
yeah, it's like you don't want to use there not being a time limit as an excuse to just give up on it and then always think about it and never actually go back and play it. But you also want to focus on other games that are coming out and stuff too. So
Yeah, like I can be kind of slow, and so I feel like I would probably in a lot of scenarios be guilty of doing that. So like I know this weekend for round 2, I made sure to at least like pick one of the games and make sure it was downloaded and available and like ready for me to play.
yep. And so I didn't ask you for sure. Is that your definite pick?
Yep, I got the Fantasy Star 4 was one of the games in round 2, and I picked that up on Steam for like the Mega Drive bundle, and I did play like 20 minutes of it. So it's good.
And I've been enjoying watching it, but I think we'll get to that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so the 3 games in round 2 are a choice between Eco on the PS2, Fantasy Star 4 on the Genesis or whatever modern digital platform you can buy it for, and then Crosscode, which was on Noah's Game of the Year list for last year and was the game that I chose off of that list. So, yeah, I've been playing a ton of Crosscode. Before I bounce into Crosscode, though, anything else that you guys want to say about the list other than that it's awesome and that I'm very excited for it?
You said this before, but I will mirror that. We picked too many RPGs, I think.
Potentially.
It is true. I mean, in a list of 30 games, probably 15 of them are probably either RPGs or like action RPGs, games of significant time. So it's going to be a while to get through. Thankfully, almost all of the RPGs on the list are ones that I haven't played through before. I think there's only one on the list that is actually going to take some time that I haven't played. We all tried to choose a blend of games that were ones that we have played that we want the other two to play, and ones that we ourselves are excited to play. So like every round of the list ends up having like a little bit of excitement for one person or another, and I think that it's balanced pretty well. And obviously we're all reasonable people, so when the bonus round comes up and someone gets to pick a bonus game, we'll be reasonable in choosing something that we think is to the other person's tastes. We aren't going to be like I'm trusting that Nick isn't going to tell me to replay Front Mission 4 as my bonus game, or
I'm not going to give you a
something
big
like that.
RPG, I think all my bonus games are going to be shorter games.
Yeah, mine will be probably short to mid-length games. It'll depend on like what I want you to play at that given point. And most of the games on the list are like, with the exception really of Crosscode, most of them are older-ish games, like at least PS2 era and earlier. Mostly like Genesis, Super Nintendo, or like N64 era PS1. So yeah,
I'd like to
it's
see
cool.
some of the bonus games be like for me, I did kind of a bad job of adding like weird twists. Like Noah, I liked all of your like categories. It wasn't just play this game. So maybe throwing some of those in would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. I like that idea a lot.
I just wanted it so like when I have to replay the game, I could do something interesting, or I don't know, just have you guys play doing different stuff. I don't know.
It will be fun. I'm looking forward to going through it because honestly, looking at the list, there's nothing in there that I'm not excited to play. And the thing that I really like about it is I feel like it's giving me an opportunity to pull certain things up like to a higher priority in my backlog than I would have otherwise given them. Like round 5 has Rayman in it on the PS1. Like I've always wanted to play Rayman and I just have never gotten around to it. So now I'll finally have like a good reason to motivate myself to play it. So I'm looking forward to that. And most of the replays that I'm going to have to do, stuff like Metroid Prime, Eco, um, all those are games that I like and would like to replay at some point. So, yeah. So because of the list after Kirby's Dream Land, I've been playing a ton of Crosscode. And I can't recall if we've ever talked about Crosscode on the podcast. Noah, when you were playing it, did you talk about what it is?
I think I did, but I cannot remember. All I remember is I gave
Okay.
it high praise and I told everybody to play it, and I don't know if anybody did.
Yeah. So he was right. Everyone should play this game. Crosscode is incredible. The premise of the game, it's an action RPG, and you are controlling a character in an MMO that is named Crossworlds, I think. So the MMO is not even named Crosscode. Um, and the class you play in the MMO is a Spheromancer. So you have melee attacks and stuff, but then you also have balls that you can shoot as kind of a spray or charge as like a targeted ball shot that bounces off of walls. And so those two different combat options combined with like a ton of the different skills and dodges and stuff that you get make the combat really interesting and like pretty dynamic. Like I don't feel like I'm doing a lot of the same stuff over and over again, especially because as you start to progress in the story, you unlock sort of elemental variations on your moveset. You unlock fire element and water element and stuff. And each of those have their own skill tree that you can level up. So you can customize like your ice form or your fire form to be kind of geared towards one type of player or another and have different sets of skills if you want to. So you could focus your ice skills to mostly buff up your long range ball shots, and then you could like adjust your fire form to be more melee focused if you really wanted to. Um, but there's so many things to praise this game about that it's like kind of overwhelming to try to describe it. Like one, I think the characters are surprisingly well written. Like it would be really easy in a game that is about an MMO where you're playing within an MMO to just have it like be full of memes and be kind of stereotypical or like uninspired writing. But I feel like they do a good job of like making the characters interesting and kind of human. It has a good blend of like quests that are more generic MMO quests, but then quests with some variety. There's tons of like treasures and stuff hidden all throughout the different environments, and it can be surprisingly difficult to figure out how to get to treasures. And then on top of everything, the dungeons are so well designed in this game that they are like 100% on par with some of the best Zelda dungeons that I've ever seen. Yeah, I
I
know, Graham.
disagree. I think they are better than any Zelda dungeon I had ever played.
So you might be right. I don't know. There are some Zelda dungeons in like A Link to the Past that some of the later ones that I think are just as good. So I will say that the dungeons in Crosscode are they make you feel smarter than any Zelda dungeon. Because you have that charged ball shot that can bounce off of walls, a lot of the dungeons end up being about finding tons of unique and interesting ways to like bounce that shot off of walls and like through different elemental pads and stuff.
Did you get one
To
that slows down your ball?
yeah, there's one that slows down your ball. There's like there are situations where you can like as you're shooting, you infuse the ball with a certain element. So you might need to like shoot the ball through fire to evaporate this pillar of water, and then like switch and shoot your ball made out of ice to freeze a different pillar so that you can bounce off of it to get to a switch and stuff. Um, yeah, they just do a really good job with the dungeon design. If I had one complaint, it's that the maps of the dungeons don't tell you where the treasure chests are, so you can get into a situation if you miss a chest where you're kind of running around the whole dungeon not knowing where the chest you missed is. That only happened to me one time so far, but
Was it in
um,
Bergen, like the Bergen mines or whatever?
yes.
Yeah, I got stuck there too, looking for a
And it was a
chest.
situation where I think I ran like past the room or the dungeon or the chest that I needed to get, and I just forgot to go back because on my map it showed as a marked room already. So, but that's a minor complaint because the game dungeons are so good and the boss fights are fun too. I I picked Crosscode over Phantasy Star 4 because Noah had played a lot of it, and I felt bad that I didn't get around to it before Game of the Year discussions last year. And now I feel like a chump because if I had played it, I would have been like right there on Noah's side, arguing down everybody else that this needs to be like in the top 3 games of last year.
Yep.
I love this game. It's so good. So I've been playing tons of Crosscode. The other game, the RPG that I've been playing is Cosmic Star Heroine. So I wanted to play this game for a long time and was waiting and waiting and waiting for the limited run release to come out because before the game even launched digitally, they announced that it was going to launch physically. And I knew I would wait for the physical copy. And I started playing it, and it is a really intelligent, really cool role playing game. Dan, have you played it? I feel like if anyone, you would have played it.
Yeah, I bought the digital version like forever ago when it first came out, and I played through it.
Did
Pretty
you beat it?
sure I platinumed it.
Oh, okay. So you beat it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not a terribly hard platinum to get. The only somewhat challenging one is there was one where it's like beat a battle on hard mode, like the super hard mode. So I just
Hmm.
loaded uh like a new game and went in and the super hard mode and died a bunch of times trying to get through one battle. It was pretty rough.
that makes sense. Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was. I really liked just kind of the overall presentation of it. I mean, if you like Chrono Trigger, you're probably
Yeah,
gonna like this game because
very true.
the sprite works very similar, and like the system battle system and everything is pretty much the exact same.
Yeah, and the soundtrack's really good. The one thing that I like about like the extra layers that they add on top of the traditional role playing mechanics are your characters every turn build up like a hyper meter, and usually every like 3 or 4 turns, a character will go into hyper mode, where anything they do that turn is significantly stronger. So you end up trying to like time when you use some of your best abilities in line with your hyper mode, which isn't always easy to do because all of your skills, almost all of your skills, are single use. And once you've used them, you can't use that same skill again until you defend, which recharges all of your skills. And so you'll end up using like less efficient moves so that you can use your really strong move on your hyper turn and then defending later. Um, and items are treated kind of like skills where they're single use per battle so they can have stronger effects and stuff. And yeah, it's it makes most of the fights in the game feel pretty strategic. At least for me because I'm playing on heroine difficulty, which is the third out of four, and I feel like it's perfectly tuned. Um, yeah,
Yeah, hmm
that's an awesome game.
definitely.
Very fun. And really, those are the two main games I've been playing. The Beat Saber DLC did finally release, so I've been playing the new songs in Beat Saber and trying to pass them on Expert Plus. I think I've passed 4 now, so that's been fun.
Want to share opinions or anything? I'm willing to talk about this.
Heck yeah. I've had a couple of days with it now, and I think overall the music in Beat Saber's new DLC is a little bit of a letdown because it's all from the Monster Cat label, so it all ends up being like dubstep or EDM type music, and a lot of it starts to feel kind of the same. It doesn't sound that different from the songs that are already in Beat Saber, but I don't think it's like amazing music. I like the free songs that they released way more than I like these DLC songs that I paid for.
I agree.
The DLC songs so far have been awesome. The free DLC songs have been awesome. But they're not bad songs, and I think that the charts are pretty fun. They're starting to like experiment more and do a lot more interesting stuff in the charts. Like take some chances. One thing in particular is there's finally a song where you are slashing up and down with one hand as you slash left and right with the other hand, which I like seemed like an obvious charting pattern that they had just never put in before. But yeah, in terms of how the songs actually play, I think they're super fun. I also would have liked if they had included some more like color schemes like they did with the KDA song that was free, um, just to
Yeah,
add a
but they
little bit
added
more
like
variety.
the monster cat symbol around the outskirts.
Yeah, yeah. I think this DLC really shines in Expert Plus, um, but Expert stuff is good too. No, what do you think, Noah?
I feel like okay, so when I first played Beat Saber, I thought the expert mode was like how the song should be played. Like you hit the notes and it all just lines up so perfectly. But it kind of feels like with the new DLC it doesn't quite line up perfectly. Like it's supposed to be played in Expert Plus. I don't I It's hard to tell.
Uh, Yeah, I mean there are, because it's dubstep, there are a lot of like build-ups to what you expect are going to be drops that feel a little undercharted in the expert charts, and sometimes they actually feel a little overcharted in expert plus. Um, but yeah, I do feel like in expert plus they match the theme of the song better, whereas the expert plus charts in the original Beat Saber feel like in a lot of times that they're overcharting them specifically to make it hard.
I would say I am also overall let down with I don't know if you meant like the whole DLC, but I am let down by the DLC. Um and I think it's because all the songs are samey and like a lot of them have like these big build-ups and you're ready for the drop and you're ready to go bananas and then it's just like a semi-fast rhythmic thing that is the drop and it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm not let down by the DLC. Like, I don't really like the music in the DLC any more than I do the original Beat Saber music. I guess I was just hoping for music that I would like more, and instead it's just like music that is kind of more of the same. Um, but I'm just happy to have more songs to play. I will keep enjoying that DLC because it is more charts for me to grind through. But that's all I played. How about Noah?
All right. Um, so I play Beat Saber too, but we just talked about that, so I'm not going to talk about it. Also, if you're listening to this on Spotify, hello. I've been thinking about putting this podcast up on Spotify, and this might be the one that is like the latest release and might be people's first impression. So, hi, and I hope you enjoy your stay here. Outside of that, I have been doing the list, and I, for my round two, have chosen Fantasy Star 4. I think it's, what is it? An end of the millennium, I think? Something like that. And I've been streaming that, and I now have like a faithful viewer who shows up every day to see me stream that. Shout outs to Garrison. And pretty much what happens is I load up the game, I start the stream. About 3 minutes later, he shows up, and I ask him questions and tell him to show me where things are or tell me what to do. And he does it, and it's very nice. I'm not like. Technically, I'm not looking at a walkthrough, but I'm kind of looking at a walkthrough because he knows pretty much everything about the game. Um, and so far, I'm liking it. Like, I remember I played Fantasy Star 1 or 2, and it had like those first person maze dungeon crawly things, you know? Kind of like how Persona 1 had. And I didn't care for it. But this one is more of like your standard RPG, uh, dungeon crawly situation, JRPG. And I would say like the cutscenes really stand out and the storytelling is really good. Um, the cutscenes are done in like uh, manga action shots or comic shots or whatever, like panels that just show up and show different emotions of people and different scenes of what's going on. And I think that's really cool. And I think that's definitely a good way to share that story.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed those. Like, because the Genesis isn't like a graphical powerhouse, but it still looks really nice.
Mm-hmm. I like the way they did that. Um, some of the writing is a little wonky because I think some stuff got lost in translation. Uh, there are some aliens that this is especially truthful for, where he says what you get an alien on your team, and you're on a different planet, and he says something that just is a sentence, and then he's upset that nobody laughed at the sentence, but it's not a joke; it's just a statement. Um, but it's been a lot of fun going through and playing Phantasy Star because I played Phantasy Star Online, 1 and 2, and a lot of the same stuff is there, like Soul Atomizer, Moon Atomizer, and Star Atomizer from online are just duos in that game, and they do pretty much the same thing: res, heal, and party heal. I think something like that. Uh, Dark Force is in Phantasy Star, and the boss of Phantasy Star Online is Dark Falls. And so, there's that reference. You got the different androids. I would say androids are a lot stronger in this game because they heal as you move, and in Phantasy Star Online, they would just heal over time very, very, very slowly. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. And then another game I've been playing is. So I'm always like. I'm stuck, right? I have 3 things I want to stream, and that is the Messenger speedruns, Harvest Moon 64 speedruns, and the list. So, like, I've been streaming Phantasy Star, and I've been trying to get a schedule, like, happening so I can play all these games that I want to play on Twitch. And so the other game I've been playing, I've kind of let the Messenger sit for a minute. And the other one I've been playing is Harvest Moon 64, where, I don't know, did I talk about this on the last podcast?
I feel like you did a little bit, yeah.
Alright, so Harvest Moon 64, just to, like, take a break from the Messenger, because, like, that's all I did was speedrun the Messenger, and I don't want to get burnt out. I am running the Potpourri Marriage Percent, which means you try to marry Potpourri, one of the girls in the town, as fast as possible. And I've been playing on emulator, and I think the next time I do a run, it's going to be on the Wii U Virtual Console, because the community for that game hides emulator runs, because emulator loads faster than the 64 or the Wii U. And so they don't want to, like, they want to accept the runs without them being very official. I had somebody from the community show up and tell me all this and talk with me as I was doing a run, which I PB'd, by the way, by 20 minutes, I think, something bananas like that. And so it was actually a very fast time. So the next time I do a run, I would like to have it officially up there and not hidden and filtered. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing outside of playing Apex, which, oh man, I should talk about. So the season 1 battle pass is out. It's 950 coins or $10 because you have to buy 1,000 coins at a time. And they released new skins, and there's 100 levels to the season, and I think a season's gonna last like 3 months. I cannot confirm that. And you get something every level, and I think it's about the same as a level normally. And so you can level up now, like normally, and you can level up your season pass like at the same time, which is really cool. So you're always filling like 2 meters, so you're getting goodies almost twice as fast. But the new hero also is out. His name is Octane. He sacrifices some of his health to move faster, and he throws a bounce pad, and he regens out of combat. And so far, he seems really balanced. Have anybody here played it?
No,
I
sir.
have not played Octane at all. I haven't bought him yet. I probably will with my points, but I haven't bought him yet.
All right, so he sounds broken, but also he sounds terrible, but he is actually very balanced, believe it or not. It's weird for a hero to come out that I think is immediately just balanced. His regen out of combat is not too much, and 10% of your max health is 10 health, I think. I think you start at 100. So, he regens fast enough to counteract that, but not so fast that like he's unstoppable. It really is interesting that they balanced it that way and how actually effective it is. Um, and his bounce pad is like okay. I don't know if there's some sweet maneuvers you can make with it, but yeah, it's there. Um, but it's good to have another movement hero out there.
He seems like the most fun of the three heroes I haven't bought, so I'll probably buy him.
He is definitely better than the other two. They said they want to look at Mirage, which is one of the two he was talking about, because people don't get bamboozled much anymore. Like, and I've definitely noticed it too. I don't get bamboozled that often, and people don't get bamboozled by me that often. People are just smart enough now to understand. And yeah, I've been playing a lot of Apex at night. Usually I will stream 7 to 9 or 7 to 10, and then I'll play Apex from 10 to 12:30 or something. And we have it. We have the team. Uh, it's Noah, Joade, and Pat, with occasional sprinklings of not this Steve, but a different Steve. Ben. Oh, and I want to say there's one more, but maybe not. Joade is really good at shooting. Like, he will give Joade 5 stars for shooting, and he's pretty smart. Let's give him 4 stars for what's the word I'm looking for?
Like strategies.
Strategy. Yeah, that's a good one. And then I would say I'm like the reverse of that, where I feel like I have 5-star strategies, and I am not as good at shooting as Joade, but we are definitely the conquering team. And then Pat shows up, and Pat has 1-star strategies and 3-star shooting. So Joade and I feel like we are getting good at that game, and it's been a lot of fun playing and actually. Like, I don't just get 1 kill a game anymore. It is generally 5+ kills. It's super nice.
How many wins do you have?
Last night I actually got I 100% achievements. At least 8. A minimum of 8. You have to win once with each hero, I think. And since they released Octane, you just have to win with 8 different heroes now. I still haven't won with Gibraltar, but I have multiple wins with Wraith and Pathfinder, so there's plenty.
Nice. I still haven't won one.
Well, if you play with us, I feel like we can definitely get you a win, because we got 2 with a total scrub lord. The other Steve, he's like level 7 or something. He is not very far along, and we got him a couple of wins that night. So I'm sure we can carry you.
We just have to find a time where we can actually play together.
Oh yeah, and starting this Sunday, my schedule shifts earlier 1 hour, so I will be getting home at 5:30 instead of 6:30. And Joade says he's also switching. So they're not closing at 10 anymore. They're closing at 9. So he will also be home an hour early, which counteracts all those texts I sent you and all the sadness I had.
Nice.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Let's go with Dan. What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Well, the most exciting game that we all know that I play, Final Fantasy 14, still playing with my 2 friends down in Kansas City who have been leveling characters. And because of their insane level boost or level experience boost, they have, well, one of them has 4 characters at level 50 already, and she just did Titan in the main story quest, which is like what, level 30, I think.
So does she just want all those characters, or are you talking about different job levels?
Jobs. Sorry, she has 4 jobs at level 50. Although one of them was Scholar Summoner, so that was kind of cheating, but still, she's only been doing the main story quest and dungeons with me for as far as leveling goes. So uh, that is kind of ridiculous how much that actually gets you. So she's gonna abuse the crap out of that since she can't level past 50 anyway, and then level whatever she decides she likes the most once she buys the expansions. I've started a bard and a paladin, and uh, I think those are the 2 classes I was working on with them. And I just got the bard job, so level 30, and paladin is like 55 or something now.
So, your friend, is she liking this game like a lot? Like she's definitely gonna get the expansions and play a ton?
Yeah, she is planning on buying them. Like I think she might have pre-ordered Shadowbringers already, but it doesn't unlock the other 2 expansions until the game actually releases in June or July or whenever that is. So she either has to choose to buy Stormblood now to unlock everything else, or wait, 3 months to get everything else. And I feel like she's gonna end up buying Stormblood because she's gonna get bored of having stuff at level 50 pretty quick because she's just gonna have everything maxed out real quick.
So when you get Shadowbringers, it unlocks Stormblood and Heavensward for you?
Yeah. Like right now, if you buy Stormblood, it unlocks Heavensward for the cost of Stormblood. So the Shadowbringers will do the same.
I think that's what Guild Wars 2 said they were gonna do, but then that didn't happen. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
WoW does it. Like they do it kind of a different way. Like you buy the base game and you get everything up to like the expansion before the current one, and then you have to buy the current expansion. So it's a good way for people to get caught up. But since she's playing on the like starter account or that I gifted her from my Twitch Prime, she can't. She hasn't gotten past her initial 30 days, so she hasn't paid for subscription yet. So we can't even do like Palace of the Dead because she can only do level 1 through 10.
Well,
So yeah, we did it like once last night just so I could show them what it was, and then we, they're like, oh yeah, we can only do level 10, so we just won't do this now. Like, no, that's. I finally managed to clear level 50. I've got a group that didn't suck, and I pugged my way through level 50, but I haven't gone past that. And I'll just start doing Heaven on High, the Stormblood version, once I get probably my Paladin to 60, so I can just cheese my way. And then I've been playing Tales of Vesperia is pretty much the only game that I've been working on lately because I wanted to finish it out before some other games came out, like Sekiro, which comes out on Friday, tomorrow. Um,
oh
and
my god, it's tomorrow.
yeah, and
It's
well, you
actually
guys have been.
tonight for me. I'm
Oh, because you bought the digital.
no, but GameStop is doing like a
Oh,
pre-release at 9, so I will leave at 8:45 to go buy Sekiro at 9. I also have
nice.
tomorrow off work because it's a university holiday. So,
Oh,
chef
look at you.
kiss.
Well, I'm not that fortunate. I just bought it on Amazon, so it'll show up tomorrow sometime, and I'll come home from work and play it. Um, but while you guys were discussing the list and all that stuff, I was playing through the final dungeon, and I've gotten my way up to right before the final boss, and I'm just exploring some more because there's some stuff in here that I haven't found. But Yeah, I've been going pretty hard on it this week to try and finish it out because I was pretty dang close to the end for a long time, and I finally just put my foot down and decided to get through it. Um, so far, I mean, since I'm at the end, I've really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of the better Tales games that I've played. Um, and I can't really speak to comparisons between the like definitive edition and the original because I never played the original version. But I know some people complained about like Yuri's got a different voice actor for the new voiced segments, but I haven't noticed any difference like going through the game. So maybe somebody who played the original game would notice more than I would, but it's whoever they got to voice those new lines did a fine job because like I said, I couldn't tell the difference. Um, and then Flynn permanently joins your party in this version. I'm sure people know that already, but he joins like at the end of the game, like right before you go to the final dungeon. And then Patty, the brand new character, joins like halfway through, I want to say, as permanently. And
Is it,
her
is it the
entire
pirate girl?
yeah, the pirate girl.
Okay.
Her whole character is interesting because uh she's got an interesting story that they kind of weaved into the game because she just didn't exist at all, from what I understand. Um, and it's the conclusion. It kind of like concludes its side quest, I guess. Once you get to just before like some of the final events in the game, and I thought it was a good job. I thought they did a good job, and it wrapped up nicely and had a nice little twist at the end of it. Um, her as a character, like in combat and stuff, is pretty interesting because all of her moves are just completely random. Like she's one of those characters where she's a lottery character. All her skills will either do something really good or really bad.
Always, I always am tempted and then don't end up using characters like that.
I mean, I had her in my party for a while because you lose Estelle, and she had one of her skills is a heal that heals varying degrees based on the luck factor. But all of her, she has like different stances that she swaps between that affect the randomness or what the effects end up being of the various abilities she has, and then a bunch of her passive skills affect all that stuff to a very varying degrees as well. She has one that says like you'll never get the worst or the best. You'll only get the mediocre results. Or there's another one where you only get the best or the worst and none of the middling results. But I haven't tried using those skills yet to really see. But like one of the skills she has, she just hops on a rocket and flies off the battlefield for like 30 seconds and then comes crashing back. So she's also a little weird, but I think she's pretty good addition, I'd say.
Nice.
She sounds pretty fun. So.
Yeah, and then I was trying to do as many of the side quests and random things along the way as I could in the first playthrough so that when I do a new game plus I can follow a guide and just blow through and finish the other stuff that I didn't get. And there's a couple that I got kind of mad about because they're like really arbitrary, but I mean, I guess every Tales game has something like that where it's like I couldn't get all the swimsuit costumes because I didn't talk to one random dude in a town that gets destroyed near the end of the game, and because of that, he doesn't show up somewhere else to talk to get the rest of the swimsuit titles. And then I went to the Namco Island and did some of the stuff there, but didn't play the casino forever because they have blackjack there to play, and much like the like Tales of the Abyss, I think had the same. But yeah, definitely. If you've never played it, definitely recommend. And if you have played the original, you should give the definitive edition a whirl to see if how it compares for you to the original.
Oh, it is very tempting, but I feel like I just played the original because it was like
Yeah,
2 years ago, I think.
yeah. I remember you just finished getting through it
Hmm.
not that long ago. Um, in this one too, like the DLC that comes with it, they give you like a bunch of item packs and stuff. And some of those item packs are actually level packs, which I didn't use any of them, or no, I used one or two of them throughout the game because I was horribly underleveled and all of the enemies in the area were giving almost no experience. So I just used one or two to catch myself up. Um, and I kept myself pretty even with the game up until the final dungeon, and then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna blow through this. So I used all the level items and went from level 55 to 85, and of course haven't been having a whole lot of trouble blitzing through the final dungeon. Other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot on my plate. I did buy a few games in the Nindy thing, which I plan to get to eventually here for Switch. And last night I was watching somebody play a new game that just came out. It's called Baba Is You. Um,
Steve, that's the game we watched with Leah when they were doing the GDQ mystery race.
Yeah, so everyone's been talking about Baba Is You, and I was confused because I'm pretty sure I had seen this game before. So this was like a this is new to the Switch, but it must have been out like just as like a really informal release somewhere else, or maybe GDC had a pre-release.
No, it's actually out on Steam too. So I think GDC
I was gonna
did
say I
have
think it's
the
on Steam.
The
pre-release.
pre-release. Okay. It it seems really cool. It seems complicated. I remember thinking it was a very fun-looking puzzle game, but it
Yeah, I was
was
watching somebody
nuts.
play it, and just the weirdness of the puzzles was like really caught my attention. Like how you push the words around to affect the rules of the level. So like, oh, there's a wall you can't get through because there's a sentence that says wall is stop. But if you move the letters around or the words around, so it doesn't say wall is stop anymore, you can just walk through the wall and go do stuff.
Yeah, I definitely know that it's like out on platforms that I can easily play it on. I will pick it up for Switch. It seems like a good mess with your mind type game.
Yeah, definitely. So I bought it, and then I figured it'd be especially a good game for the Switch because of how you can just, it's a quick one where you can just open a level and do one or two and then put it down if you're on the go. Or
How much is it on the Switch?
it's $15, same as on Steam.
Okay, that's not bad.
It has 200 levels, over 200 levels
They did
to
not
mess
do 200 at GDC or GDQ.
No, not at all.
around. But yeah, that's kind of all I've had going on. So hopefully I'll have more to chat about next time because Sekiro's out, and next week is I think it's next week is Trails of Cold Steel remaster comes out on PS4. I've got that coming, and then um, I bought the new Fate Muso game because that came out this week too. But I probably won't get to that right away. So I guess then we're down to Nick to hear what he's been.
Oh. Well, I was like thinking earlier today. I was like, oh no, I haven't actually played very much because I the only thing I could remember was Kirby. So I did play that. I played it. Um, I played it on my cell phone. So the last boss was actually kind of hard without physical buttons. Um, but I beat him. And then think I said I started Fantasy Star 4 as well. I'm not very far in. Um, I've completed like the first little mission they gave you, and now they're sending me somewhere else. So it's like 30 minutes, maybe. But so far, so good. It looks like a super classic JRPG, so it's gonna be fun. But I think right after we recorded the podcast last time, I had just ordered a Switch. Finally.
Finally.
Yeah.
So I've got my Switch, and I got the bundle that just came with $35 of credit for the Nintendo store. And so I dropped that on the Messenger and Wargroove. And then I also picked up Breath of the Wild. So, so far I've played some Breath of the Wild, and that's been super fun. And then I also started playing The Messenger as well, and I feel like I'm really bad at that game. But that's just because I've watched Noah do so many speed runs. It
Dude,
makes it look so easy.
okay, like when you get good at a game, you don't realize how good you are, but like
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that game now.
You absolutely are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's some rooms where I'm just like, damn it, this is hard. Um, but it is a very fun game. I don't think I've played like a lot of that style of game. So that
Yeah.
was kind of one of the reasons I wanted to like start it up because it just sounded fun at the time. Um, and it has been. And the music in that game is like so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
But that's like kind of the extent of my gaming. I'm excited to get more Switch games, but I did have one other. Many months ago, I pre-ordered West of Loathing on the Switch, and so I have that as well.
Okay, isn't there DLC for that now?
Is there?
Maybe
I
I
think
haven't seen
so.
anything.
That's cool. There's so much in that game I didn't even see the first time. That's a full big game.
Was that on our top 10 or 7.5 list of 2016 or something? 2017?
It was extremely high on our list. It was good.
So is that it, Nick? Are you done?
That's it. Quick and dirty.
Are you even a gamer?
I don't think he is.
Not really. I buy games, but I don't play them.
That seems like a weird use of money. All right, Steve. What do you want? What do you want to get to next?
So I have 45 minutes before I personally have to leave. I definitely first want to hear your opinions on Stadia.
Okay, I definitely think we can just wrap up the whole podcast in about 45 minutes. That'll be almost 2 hours.
Let's do a quick round table discussion on Stadia because it is the news of news for games right now. I kind of have opinions on varying aspects of it. In general, like I'm kind of neutral. So okay, I guess I will explain what Stadia is, and then we can go around and give our impressions of it. So Google had a keynote at the Game Developers Conference earlier this week where they announced Google Stadia, which is their game streaming service, game platform, and it is essentially Google using their server infrastructure to let you stream modern video games at what they claim to be high quality, although we haven't seen it in action yet, on essentially any device that has an internet connection. So you'll be able to stream games from your Chrome browser. You'll be able to stream it from your phone. You'll be able to stream it from your smart TV or your Chromecast. If you have like a Google connected device of any kind, you'll be able to stream games in your browser. And because it is all being streamed on the Google side and you're just playing the render that it's showing you, there's not any significant processing on the user end, and should allow you to play games well beyond the spec of the device you're on, no matter what, as long as you have a connection.
Yep,
It's
and they
like
said
cloud hosting for video games.
Yeah, I mean it's Netflix for video games, right? Is the breakdown of it.
Right.
And there's a lot of like little pieces that they announced alongside that. So they showed a Stadia controller, which you'll use to play the games on like whatever devices are not your computer.
Ooh, kind of a note on that too. That was like one of the more interesting pieces was the Stadia controller isn't Bluetooth connected. It's Wi-Fi connected directly to Google, so you're not constantly like repairing your controller to different devices. Like the controller just follows you around, like auto detecting what device you're playing on, which was interesting.
It's the controller itself looks uncomfortable, but that feature in particular seems cool. And I mean, there's so many little things to go into. They announced that, like, one, because the processing is being handled on their side, that means that you can do more, much more complicated physics in game to be able to produce something that's more impressive than consoles today can produce. They announced a couple of weird features, one of which was called State Share, which is essentially, if a developer has enabled this feature, you'll be able to capture a moment in game that essentially captures the current state of that game and whatever variables the developer has defined. And then other people can jump right into that particular part of the game and play it. So in the same way that you might like share a clip with your buddy, like, hey, look at this cool thing I did in this game, you'll be able to save that state and say, hey, Noah, go play this level I just played. Look at this crazy stuff that just happened. So that seemed kind of cool. And then there's a bunch of other features around like ways that it helps developers to develop games faster that I'm not really sold on. Yeah, that's kind of a general rundown. Is there anything that you paid close attention to that I'm leaving out? I'm sure there is.
Yeah, so like one of the big things that people have kind of picked up on is that people think this is almost more of a way to promote YouTube than gaming itself. Because when you're streaming your game, they said that automatically that video feed that you're getting is also going to YouTube for anyone to watch. And like that's an automatic thing.
Oh, I did not know that. So you're essentially live streaming every game you play forever, just not like
I'm sure you can turn it off, but they said like that extra stream of video is like automatic to some extent.
I mean,
and then another big piece was they did not announce like anything about money. Like they didn't say how much it would cost. They didn't say how you would buy games. They didn't say like anything about that.
How to monetize it at all, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I am kind of operating on the assumption that it will be a subscription service. Probably that they package or include with YouTube Red. But I don't know. Because, I mean, I don't know how else you really can monetize something like that.
And they'll have to make it attractive to developers and publishers.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the biggest concerns I had with it is, I mean, there's a lot of issues to go into around the fact that at least in the US, infrastructure is not necessarily set up to do a lot of this streaming well, especially at the numbers that I've seen thrown around on the internet. I've seen a couple places that say like you need like a 20 to 25 gigabyte connection to stream at 1080p 60, which is what they're touting, which is not realistic for a lot of people. But in terms of making it attractive to developers and stuff, unless this catches on in a big way, it's cool that they have the ability to essentially like handle physics in the cloud and handle like water physics is the example they gave in the cloud. But
Mhm.
no developer is going to take the time to put in that work if Stadia isn't big enough to give them kickbacks on that effort. Like most developers, at least initially, are going to scope their game for PS4 console, Xbox, and the current PC, and then also put their game on Stadia. So you're not going to get any of those enhancements. And some might build some of them out, but it feels like it'll end up being the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, and to kind of like this is going to be for game developers maybe a big reason for them to develop on Google's cloud platform. And so Google's getting here first, but I'll be kind of interesting to see what Amazon has to answer with it because they also own Twitch. So
Yeah, exactly. It seems like so I'll say like for all the skepticisms I have, I am net interested in this. I don't think it's going to instantly radically shift the way people consume games, but it is an interesting first step into what kind of felt like was a slow inevitability of games becoming these like digital package services in the same way that music and TV shows have been with
yeah, and
Spotify and Netflix and stuff.
there's been companies that have tried to do it, but
Yeah, yep,
like
there
I think I've
and
seen
they've all
some
kind of
YouTubers
whiffed.
pointed out like Google's like one of the first companies that's had the infrastructure to back it up.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like what will happen, hopefully, is that Amazon or some other big company that we're not thinking of right now will learn from Google's mistakes and make a better version. Um,
I think Respawn will just do it.
oh, that would be so good. Um, yeah, but overall, I'm interested. Like, I do think that the state share thing is cool. If for no other reason, I like the idea that if you're watching a trailer for a game on YouTube, you can at the end of the trailer hit like the play here and play in your browser and get a taste for that game. Like, if for no other reason, them bringing back demos in an interesting way is pretty cool. And being able to just share like a link to a game is neat. In an interesting way to share those like moments with people as long as there are enough games. So
They
yeah,
also said,
overall it's cool, but we'll see.
yeah, they also said if you need help in a video game, you can just, I don't know if you can straight up just talk to it or if you have to like ask it or something. You can maybe hit a help button, and it will just give you a video of like where you are from some walkthrough YouTube page or something. Like
Oh
it'll
yeah,
realize where you are and be like, "Oh, this is what you got to do."
yeah, it's got like the Google Assistant built in.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, that'll be cool if it can work well, but we'll see. So anyways, yeah, I know you said that you had thoughts on it. I'm curious to hear what Dan thinks of it too. What do you guys think?
Uh, you guys pretty much like said all my thoughts. Like it'd be really cool if this like actually worked out, if the way they say. But like 4K 60 FPS, I don't know, 1080 on today's internet, especially for most people, maybe not possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical about how it'll perform on the user end just because of internet speeds. Our infrastructure across the country is pretty terrible, so I don't think it's going to be as smooth as they think it's going to be.
Yeah, we still have people running on copper wires, so
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath.
But what you hope is that maybe this turns out to, for the people that it works well for, it is a cool feature and people want more, and that starts pushing people to either improve the quality of their internet infrastructure, or it encourages other companies to come in to try to lay that infrastructure so they can capitalize on a market that's hungry for this type of thing. Like, you hope that this pushes those industries, like nudges them in the right direction, in the same way that like Netflix made ISPs like change their course a little bit, because suddenly so much of their bandwidth was going through Netflix that they had to accommodate for that. Like, you want this to be good enough that it just kind of raises the tide for everybody, even though that'll take a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't expect anything anytime soon on that front, just because of how long it takes them to squabble with one another.
Oh yeah, I know. And so many regions in the country only have one ISP, like, that's reasonably available for them anyways. Like,
Yeah, and the thing is, it costs too much money for somebody else to come in and lay down. It's too much of a gamble
yeah.
for them, the way everything's working right now. So the likelihood of the mini monopolies going away from this is pretty low.
Well, yeah, my hope, I guess, would be that there would be local companies that crop up. Like, I know there are some local ISPs in like LA, San Francisco, stuff like that, that have gotten pretty good feedback and have provided pretty effective service for those small areas. So the hope would be maybe like kind of city by city companies find the market for it. But I mean, you're dreaming so big that this GDC conference changes our internet infrastructure, but it's like, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back to the games right now, there are like none really announced. So we'll see. Q Games has something coming out. That'll be cool. Doom was announced. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There's some other like screens at the start of the keynote that like seemed to kind of tongue-in-cheek imply that Red Dead Redemption would come to it. So I don't know. It would have to have a pretty big library of games. Like, I don't have much of an interest if it's just the biggest AAA of AAA.
Right.
It seems like
Yeah.
it is a good first step, kind of like how the Oculus was the first step in VR, but like other people came and made better and different VR stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested. I think it's cool. Like, there was never going to be a service like this that was perfect out of the gate. Like, there's too many factors and too many complicating layers for this to just be like a knockout first try. So someone has to try something, and I think this is a fine first attempt. I think a lot of people, at least what I've seen, a lot of people online are negative, like they're really crapping on this
Dude,
on Stadia.
I saw like the Twitter, and like you go down to all the replies and it's just like, nice try, like this'll work.
And it's like, I don't know, I don't think Google is changing the landscape of games, but I do think it's short-sighted to be like, worthless, next. It's like, this is an interesting shot. Like,
Like,
let's
I
see
don't
where
think
it
it's gonna
goes.
go the way they say it's gonna go, but it's definitely gonna, I don't know, do something. Like, it's gonna shake it up.
Even if everything they announced like doesn't really shake out, there are still bits and pieces of it that could stay around that are still cool enough to make it worthwhile. Like, even just the state share thing is cool enough to keep an eye on, I think. Oh
Yeah.
god, one thing I will say, like the one thing I am negative about, is they were showing like how the cloud can help developers with an art style, and they brought up the woman from Tequila Works that made Rhyme, which is a game I love. And they were essentially saying, like, look, you can give it a picture and it'll automatically create a filter that builds an art style for you. And it's like, I don't want my game's art style to just be a generated filter that covers everything. Like, I want it to be more thoughtful than that. It just seemed like a sad, like, look at how we can take all the hard work that people do and we can make it
We can just remove their
more
job.
more yeah, we can fire them in exchange for having a more bland art style with much less nuance. So that I'm not wild about.
On the other hand, it could give an edge to like a guy who's developing a game on his own and just needed the extra help.
Yeah, and you would hope that they could. That I mean, that's a really good point, right? Like that guy who's just making his little indie game could give it a unique art style. And since you can upload like any image, it's not like a set of prefabs that will start to look generic.
And also, like, it could just help those artists that are really good. Like, I don't know, the filter could enhance their own art.
I think it depends, and they didn't say, but I'm kind of assuming this would be the case. It depends if you can apply those filters with a significant amount of customization. Like, how much control over the filter do you have? Can you control how it applies that differently to different meshes or different things? Like, can you define multiple art styles simultaneously, or can you ask it to only impact certain types of objects or impact certain objects less than others? If it's like a pretty robust tool set, then it'll be cool. But if not, then it'll just be like the 20 default Photoshop filters where you see someone that has like the neon glow filter and you're like,
It's it's hard to really speculate because like all they did was show a video like, hey, we're streaming video games, it's gonna look good.
yeah, I agree. I am always skeptical when it's like, here's an easy solution to handle what a lot of cool people have been doing for a long time. I don't know. And like, I liked Rhyme so much, and I feel like you couldn't just apply a single filter over Rhyme. So I don't know. I'm sure it won't ultimately be a big deal.
It'd be cool in like 3 years if we were just streaming video games.
Yeah, I
Didn't
mean,
they
that would
announce
be
this as
awesome.
2019 too?
Yeah, so they're announcing more information in the summer, and it's supposed to come out at the end of 2019. So we should know more soon.
That's a bold statement.
I know, it really is.
Hey man, we're gonna change video games, and I think we're gonna do it this year.
Well, they shut down Google Plus this year, so they had the extra servers just laying around.
Let's see, there you go. Yeah, overall, Stadia, I am cautiously, curiously, somewhat optimistic. Color me intrigued.
But also, this could kill, physical video games.
That's true, but I don't think it'll permanently kill physical video games. Like, Netflix exists, and you can still buy Blu-rays for stuff. And Spotify exists, but like indie artists still release stuff on vinyl. Like, I think there'll always be a market for me to buy games, even if it becomes more of like a boutique market. I think I'll always have that option in some form, at least for the foreseeable future.
Well, and if you consider the fact that people might not be completely bought into having an always on internet required game, like you play stuff on Steam, but you don't have to be connected to the internet.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, maybe it would bring back the handheld because people would just want something that they can play offline wherever they want. The Switch will boom in popularity.
Well, you can just play on your phone. So
I hate playing on my phone, though. Touch controls are bad. You should have played Kirby.
They are. They're terrible. But maybe you'll have to get one of those like controllers that's got the like little phone cradle on the top to slide your phone into.
All right, is that it? What else did we have?
I mean, the Nindy thing that was yesterday.
Oh yeah, I didn't see any of that. You want to tell me about it, Dan?
I mean, it was pretty short. It was just like, hey, here's these games that are coming out. But the big one, the big announcement is a Legend of Zelda and Crypt of the Necrodancer crossover title for Switch that's coming out this, and I am super pumped for that. Other than that, there was a new Double Fine game called Rad that looked really good. It looked like free roaming slash stuff up. Like you have a bat, but you also can get like power ups. Like your character will change and morph, and like in the example, like the teaser trailer, the dude got like a cobra head, and he would do like this bite attack in front of him, or he'd get like a tail that could spawn little like minions of himself. So there's all sorts of weird power ups. That one looked pretty cool. Um, Trying to think what other ones they had. Mm,
Crypt of the Zelda Dancer looks interesting enough.
Yeah, I mean it's Crypt of the Necrodancer with Zelda music. Um, oh right, Cuphead was announced for the Switch during that little block. Um, let's see, what was some other one? Katana Zero is another like. I haven't played the Messenger, but it kind of looks like the Messenger, where it's like a platforming, like you have a katana and you cut dudes up and stuff, like a fast-paced platformer. And then there were a bunch of other like small little games here and there. I suppose Blaster Master Zero 2 is also coming out. I don't really have much to say about that one. I know some people are excited about it.
Zero 2 is a weird name.
Yeah, but they also had a sale on all the other Nindies that they currently have on this on the Switch. So I picked up um, Blossom Tail or Blossom Tales, the one that plays like Zelda 1.
Nice. How much was that?
I want to say it was like $8.
Oh, nice.
Is that sale still going?
It started yesterday, so yeah.
Okay, good.
I was trying to find like a screen cap of it because they had like a list of all the games that were on sale, but that's the main one that I was thinking of. I mean, I suppose if you don't have like Darkest Dungeon, that's on there. It's a pretty good pick. And if you like Dark Souls, Salt and Sanctuary is on the sale as well.
I still haven't even beaten that. I have it on Steam, I think, or PS4.
Yeah, I have it on PS4. I I don't know if there's been any additions or DLC or anything for it, but I really liked it. Plus, I know the developer, so I didn't pick it up a second time though. There was like a party game in the thing that they announced, called like Swim Sanity, where you're all like underwater, do like these. It looks like a four-player like Castle Crashers kind of game, but you're swimming under. Looked kind of interesting, but I'd have to see more gameplay of it. The snippet wasn't very much.
There is DLC out for West of Loathing. It's called Reckonin' at Gun Manor.
Wow.
That sounds very West of Loathing. I heard that Nindies was like one of the better, just like Nintendo presentations. Like people are very excited about it, so I should probably go watch it and see what all's going on.
Yeah, it I just had it open here. There you go.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Did we have anything else to talk about?
I don't think so. I have a boss to beat.
I think we were initially going to talk about the games we're looking forward to, but I feel like with Stadia being announced that it's better to move the games we're looking forward to next episode where we can spend more time on them.
Yeah, I feel like we took a lot of time doing something else. I don't know what we did.
Just chatting about games. So I don't want to not talk about that since we told people we would, but let's talk about that next episode where we can give it a little bit more love.
So is it games we're looking forward to this summer or this year?
It's whatever you want, really.
So this year, we'll say.
Yeah, I put out a video where I talked about the ones through September, but I mean, there's a bunch obviously in November, like the obvious ones like Pokemon Sword and stuff like that. Where I think it's fine if we talk through the end of the year, as long as we don't think it'll be too long of an episode.
Even if it is, like, we could just talk about that and not do the games we've been playing or something. We'll make it work.
That's true. We'll figure it out.
Alright, I guess that is it for this video. Anything you guys want to say in closing?
Thank you for listening, especially if you're on Spotify, if the podcast is on Spotify.
Nick, do we have like an email people can email us at?
We do. I think it's just thebideo@gmail.com? Or is it the video? I think one of you two actually made the address. So
I mean, I'm not sure what the email address is. I should. But you could go, unless this is not working right now, to thebideo.com and click the contact us link at the top of the page and send us a note that way.
yep, that'll work.
Ask us any questions. Let us know what games you're looking forward to, especially if you have something you think we might not think of. I'd be curious to know what other people are looking forward to.
Yeah, like suggestions or anything you wanted to say or any questions you had, you can just get them to us that way.
Yep.
But that'll do it. Have a good day, night, whatever.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.